A handful of men stand frozen before a canvas, eyes wide with dread. In the dim light of a palace gallery, a pair of glowing eyes stares back from the painting, unblinking, piercing, too alive. One by one, the men raise trembling hands to trace the sign of the cross over their chests. These are not superstitious peasants. They are the ministers of Prince Ferdinand of Bulgaria, hardened statesmen reduced to frightening children by what they see. The year is 1891, and a new acquisition hangs on the prince's wall. A portrait of Lucifer so haunting that it terrified his ministers into prayer at first sight. In that silent confrontation, it's as if the devil himself were lurking in the room. But what did those dignified men truly see in Franz von Stuck's Lucifer? There is nothing overtly grotesque on the canvas. No fangs, no horns, no fire and brimstone. Instead, they saw a brooding figure that looked unnervingly human, with eyes that burned through the shadows. Why would an image of the fallen angel, portrayed as an ordinary man, strike such primal fear? Today, we will uncover the hidden meaning and dark secret behind Lucifer, a painting of the devil that feels too human. By the end, you might discover that the real horror of this masterpiece isn't Lucifer at all. It's something much closer to home, something inside us. In a nearly life-sized oil painting, a solitary figure sits shrouded in darkness. At first glance, he could be merely a man lost in sinister thought, but subtle clues betray his true identity. In the center of the canvas, Lucifer sits hunched forward on a low pedestal or bench, his muscular form barely clothed in shadows. His left arm props up his head, fingers digging into his dark hair as he leans on one fist in a pose uncannily reminiscent of Rodin's Thinker. The rest of his body is tense, legs pressed together and right arm twisted behind him as though hiding something. Only when your eyes adjust to the gloom do you realize what he conceals: black wings, folded and indistinct against the black background. They are so murky that at first you might miss them entirely, an intentional deception. Von Stuck makes us work to see the demon in this man. Slowly, the outline of a great wing emerges by his right side, and another on his left, nearly swallowed by darkness. Lucifer isn't just a man, he is a fallen angel. Now your gaze returns to his face, the single brightest spot in this Stygian scene. He is looking straight at you. Heavy brows arch over eyes that seem lit from within by a toxic yellow-green glow. Those eyes catch the light like a predator's in the night, gleaming with intelligence and unforgiving intensity. They bore into the viewer, challenging and chilling. Lucifer's expression is grim and unreadable, the corners of his mouth downturn in a subtle frown. Is it anger, sorrow, or some uncanny mixture of the two? In this moment captured on canvas, the devil does not rage or scream. He broods. His gaze is focused, as if in deep contemplation, or plotting revenge for his fall from heaven. Look closely at Lucifer's right hand. Twisted backward, his fingers grip the edge of one dark wing, as if he's absent-mindedly touching the scars of his own ruin. You can almost imagine the moment of his exile, wings scorched and blackened as he fell from the light. Now he sits nursing that pain, tracing the outline of his injury in the shadows. What is he thinking? The pose, the hand to his temple, suggests an eternity of pondering. Is Lucifer brooding on his defeat, wallowing in regret? Or is he scheming, every muscle coiled in mute defiance, planning his next act of rebellion against heaven? The ambiguity is intentional and tantalizing. Von Stuck has posed Lucifer like a philosopher of evil, a thinker of dark thoughts, frozen in a moment of eternal contemplation. And then, those eyes. We cannot escape them. Many who have stood before this painting describe feeling unable to shake Lucifer's gaze. It follows you. It accuses you. Within the depths of those eerie yellow-green eyes, there is something more disturbing than demonic hatred. There is hurt. Observers have noted a haunting sense of loss in Lucifer's glowing eyes. not a mere reproduction of the glamour of evil, but the sense of loss, the envy of the heaven he fell from, fueling the fires of the hell in which he must now dwell. That emotion, envy, longing, despair, flickers across Lucifer's face just as tangibly as the faint light behind him. In von Stuck's vision, the Prince of Darkness is not a horned beast exulting in sin. He is a fallen being licking his wounds. The most frightening thing about him is not his inhumanity, but rather how tragically human he appears. To understand how Lucifer came to look so human, we must step into the mind of the artist behind the canvas. A leading German painter of the late 19th century was no stranger to darkness. In fact, by 1890, he was renowned as Munich's acclaimed painter prince, a founding member of the Munich secession movement, and a master of symbolist art. Symbolism was all about conveying hidden truths and inner emotions through imagery, often drawing on mythology and mysticism. By the late 1880s, von Stuck had entered what critics call his dark monumental period. He began painting large-scale canvases that grappled with primal themes of good and evil, life and death. Lucifer, 1890, was one of the early masterpieces of this phase, a monumental vision of a man-demon, as one contemporary critic described it. The painting, over 5 feet tall, was intended to have an overpowering presence. Lucifer's figure is nearly life-size, confronting the viewer eye to eye in a most uncomfortable way. When Prince Ferdinand of Bulgaria purchased the work in 1891, directly from the artist's Munich studio, it quickly gained a notorious reputation in his royal collection. So why did Franz von Stuck paint Lucifer like this? Not as a medieval monster or a fire-breathing dragon, but as a somber, contemplative man with wings. The answer lies in von Stuck's artistic philosophy. He believed that even in the loftiest religious or mythical subjects, it was the human element that spoke to us most. When choosing my subject matter, I seek to render only the purely human, the eternally valid. The artist explained in a 1912 interview, even noting that, in my religious paintings, I seek to highlight the human aspect, that which is universally understandable. His goal was to make viewers relate to the figures in his paintings on a fundamental level, to see themselves, their own passions and struggles, reflected in these ancient stories. In the same interview, von Stuck remarked that even a savage unversed in Christian theology should be able to look at his crucifixion scene and recognize a noble man nailed to the cross between two barbarians, purely through the human drama depicted. It was a boldly humanistic approach to sacred and profane subjects alike. With Lucifer, von Stuck applies this philosophy to the ultimate fallen figure. He strips away the devil's supernatural trappings and shows us a portrait of pride and despair that we mortals can recognize. Lucifer's beauty, his suffering, his defiance are all human scale, not cartoonish. In many ways, this painting was influenced by the cultural climate of the time. As we peel back the layers of Lucifer, a startling truth begins to reveal itself. The devil feels too human because von Stuck's devil is human. This painting confronts us with an uncomfortable mirror. The longer you gaze at Lucifer, the more you recognize familiar emotions in his face, his frustration, his wounded pride, his smoldering resentment. These are not alien monstrosities, but feelings we have all tasted. Evil, the painting suggests, is not an external monster, but a part of us, born from the same passions that drive any human heart. In traditional art, Satan was often depicted with grotesque features, horns, hooves, a bestial snarl, something clearly other, clearly not us. Von Stuck does the opposite. Aside from the shadowy wings folded at Lucifer's back, there is nothing physically separating him from a mortal man. He has no horns, no tail, no scales. His face could be the face of a strong, brooding man you pass on the street. This very ordinariness is the source of unease. Von Stuck implies that humans need no external, supernatural source of evil. We carry it within ourselves, along with the same light that once made Lucifer the most beautiful angel in heaven. Consider how Lucifer's name itself means lightbringer, a reference to the radiance he once had. In the painting, the idea of lost light plays out poignantly. His eyes and the faint halo of light behind him are the last remnants of his former glory. There is a glint of his angelic origin, a memory of goodness, still visible amid the darkness enveloping him. This duality is what makes the image so psychologically powerful. Lucifer embodies both the light and the dark potential in one being. He is at once the condemned villain and the once loved angel. We sense his bitterness at being cast out, but perhaps also his shame. It's as if von Stuck painted that split right into the canvas. The tension between who Lucifer was and what he has become, between the ideal and the fallen self. We can't help but wonder if Lucifer's penetrating stare is meant to challenge the viewer morally. When you stand before this painting, you might feel accused, as though you may have been caught in a moment of weakness or pride by those glowing eyes. To drive home this point, let's compare Lucifer with another famous portrayal of the fallen angel from art history. Nearly half a century before von Stuck, the French academic painter Alexandre Cabanel created Fallen Angel in 1847, a work that also gave Lucifer a disturbingly human face. Cabanel's Lucifer is shown just after being cast out of heaven, a beautiful, muscular youth with a tear rolling down his cheek and eyes blazing with hurt and defiance. In Cabanel's painting, Lucifer's expression is one of raw, vengeful anguish. He literally hides his face in his arm, biting his wrist in fury, while one luminous eye stares out at the viewer with a mixture of pain and rage. The shock of that image in 1847 was that it elicited pity for the devil, the once radiant angel weeping over his fate. The approach of von Stuck Lucifer is more subtle, but no less emotive. Instead of a dramatic, overt display of emotion, von Stuck gives us a Lucifer who has internalized his torment. No tears streak his face, but the sorrow is there in his distant gaze. No dramatic pose of agony, but the tension in his body betrays an inner storm. Both paintings present the devil as a fallen being capable of human emotion, and both disturb us by blurring the line between satanic evil and human suffering. However, von Stuck's Lucifer carries the concept a step further into psychological realism. He doesn't simply invite our pity, he sits in judgment of us as much as we might judge him. His eyes seem to ask, "Have you never felt what I feel? The anger at being slighted, the desire to rebel, the despair of irreversible loss." It's a confrontation that many religious viewers in 1890 would not have expected from a depiction of Satan. In this way, Lucifer functions almost like a moral Rorschach test. What you see in Lucifer's face might say as much about you, the viewer, as it does about the fallen angel himself. Art critics have noted that Lucifer strikes the viewer not just as an embodiment of evil, but as an embodiment of the human element in evil. This is perhaps von Stuck's greatest triumph with the piece. By painting the devil as a man, he forces us to confront the ethical gray areas within. It can wear a handsome face, feel heartbreak, and plot revenge with the same intellect and emotion as any of us. This revelation lands with a chill. The difference between an archangel and a devil might only be a twist of fate, or a single moral fall that any soul could experience. At the end of our journey, we return to that dark gallery in Sofia, standing once more before von Stuck's masterpiece. It's easier now to understand why those statesmen felt a shiver of fear. Lucifer's terror doesn't come from a slavering monster leaping out of the frame. It comes from the quiet, relentless stare of a being that looks too much like us. Franz von Stuck has unmasked the devil, revealing a fallen angel whose suffering and defiance are achingly human. The painting's secret is laid bare. In Lucifer's cursed visage, we see a reflection of our own pride, pain, and temptation. In Lucifer, Franz von Stuck achieved a rare feat. He created a portrayal of Satan that is as moving as it is menacing, a devil who inspires both fear and a twinge of sorrowful understanding. We leave the fallen angel now, still seated in his cloak of shadow, but his image stays with us. Those eyes remain, glowing in memory, asking questions that have no easy answers. This painting of the devil feels too human, and that is its ultimate power. It reminds us that the capacity for darkness and light lies intertwined within every soul. And as we turn away, we cannot help but wonder, If we were in Lucifer's place, banished and broken, would we fare any better? Would we resist the darkness any more than he did? The canvas offers no reply, only the silent, unyielding stare of the devil who was once an angel, and the unsettling thought that in his humanity lies our own.